Who ready? Who? We ready? Who?
Well, a very good morning. Welcome to beautiful sunny Puerto Portals here in Mallorca. It's the second day of the Puerto Portals 52 Super Series Sailing Week. Good day yesterday, good sea breezes, Platoon on top, Gladiator not far behind. We're going to get two more races today. The small delay to start with as the breeze comes in. We caught up with Francesco Mangelli, the navigator on the Allegra. So Francesco Mangelli, the navigator on the Allegra, back in Mallorca, back in Puerto Portals. How are you guys feeling? How do you like it here?
This place is beautiful. Seriously, it's one of the best places for racing, and it's always tricky because the wind is supposed to be always the same, but it's never the same. Especially if we go closer to the other shore, is a big game, and the sea state, which is made like very tricky by the cruisers also, is not easy.
Yeah. How do you feel you're getting on this season then with the Allegra? You're getting better all the time?
Personally, I think so. I see the boat that is performing better and better. Obviously, we still have this trend of the boat that looks like a little bit powerful compared to the fleet, but I think
we get a bit more powerful there.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, and but we get in there. I think it's a matter of to get used to use the boat, and even if yesterday we didn't have a very good day, I think the boat is performing well.
Where do you feel the gains are? Where do you feel the gains are to come?
Is consistency. I mean, we see that the boat can go fast, but we are not always fast. So it means that we need to be more consistent.
So just tell us about that kind of development process. I mean, obviously it's a lot data-driven, I guess.
It's a mix, as always, is a mix between data and feeling, because data are not always saying the full truth, because there is the wind is measured on top of the mast, and the wind then is affecting the sails all the way from bottom to top. So it's an indicator, but it's not always something that is 100% sure. And so that's why the feeling and the confrontation with the other competitors is so important. You say, okay, this time we are going well. Okay, let's see where our setup was, and then is a starting point for the next step.
So generally, are you reasonably happy with the season so far, or still a lot to come?
No, with the result, no, absolutely no. I think we deserve to do better. We can do better, and is obviously we are not alone. There's plenty of very good teams and boats, so that's a fight.
So you made some changes for this regatta, I believe, underneath the water.
We did it, yeah, a little bit, but it's nothing special. It's something that makes the boat easier.
Yeah. And does it feel different?
The feeling is yes, it's different. It's different that we are able to hold the line much better than before, and the feeling is good. I mean, just the result is not at the level of what we think, but I think will come.
Anyway, this is a great venue. The Allegra team really enjoy bringing your families, don't you?
We have 3, 4, 5 families here. Not mine. Mine is in holiday somewhere else, but I need to work.
Exactly, but it's something that Andy makes a big virtue of. He really makes sure that the families come and have a good time.
Yeah. No, Andy, even on this side, is a beautiful owner. He loves to be with the kids for dinner, share with them the time. Is very nice.
And it makes it good for you guys, obviously.
Obviously, when you sail a lot, you change classes, then you are always away from home. It's nice to have the family with you.
And of course, being Italian, you won the practice race. Do you think that harmed you yesterday?
No, I don't care. Seriously.
You guys been doing a bit of cycling here? I mean, it's a great cycling venue.
Unfortunately, no, we have the rock stars in our team always going for cycling. They are super good. Personally, I'm struggling this year. A little bit off. I'm getting old.
Go on. Is it motivation or is the body saying no?
It's the body saying be careful, and then I had a lot to do with all the projects, so it's been tough for me to step on the bicycle this year, and but I'll be back.
And what about the team? It's a big part of the team cohesion, isn't it?
Personally, last year we were going out like 5 or 6 of us. I think it's a beautiful moment. You have just to stop the good one and let them understand that.
Not everybody's.
No, exactly. But after that, It's good. You can chat about a lot of things. You can prove yourself when you are very tired. I personally like so much.
Lovely. And what about today? What's the weather going to do?
It's a little different. There is a little more east gradient. Obviously, there is a very level pressure, so it's hard to say that we can see the standard sea breeze, but there is a chance of the sea breeze to come later and then to fight with the gradient later in the afternoon, so we may have some surprises after 5 o'clock.
Good surprises?
Yeah, it's windy, but with holes, so it's going to be tricky.
Good stuff. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, listen, last thing, we need to see a picture of your dogs.
The dogs are perfect, waiting for me. And I'll be back in mid-October, then I will stay with them for a couple
Let's have a look at your dogs, a picture, quickly.
Look at
There
them.
we go, look at them.
Molly and Togo.
It's quite a promising opening day for our two new teams, for Teasing Machine and also the Criolla team from Brazil. We caught up with the owner and helmsman, Eduardo Plas. So how was your first day with the fleet?
We're very happy with the first day. We have a very good first race. We got second place, so we can't complain. Wind was okay, and second race wasn't that bad also, but we have a really bad start and got in a confusion and end up in 12th place, and but we're happy. We're 5th place in the all-in and the end of the day, so we're happy.
Were you nervous going into today?
No, we're used to race these boats, so we don't get nervous. We just get upset with ourselves when we make the mistakes. That's the way it works.
Give us a little bit of a history to the team, the background to the team.
Oh, well, we have, I think we're 14 on the boat, 8 are amateurs, and we have 6 professionals. Me and my brother, we own the boat. We started on our club in Veleiros do Sul in south of Brazil. We decided to have a performance boat to help the youngsters to get an idea how things work, and we're doing okay. But we have like 4 or 5, all the amateurs are also young kids from our club who got championships, medals. Samuel Albrich is the tactics of the boat, and he's 3 times in the Olympics representing Brazil. So we're in good shape. We have good people.
You've known him for a long time, have you?
Oh yes. I know all my life, about 35 years. The group is together 12 years, but before that we also most of them from the same club, this Veleiros do Sul in Brazil, and we have 2 Argentine guys who are really nice professionals, and one in the pit and one on the jib, and also works for the sailmaker, so we have a very good advice from them.
Tell us a little bit about the club. Just give us an insight into what it's like at your club.
Well, it's a very known club. It's south of Brazil, called Veleiros do Sul, and we also have another club, Jangadeiros. Those are the 2 clubs in Porto Alegre, which is the capital of the last state in Brazil. Brazil is a very big country, and in this we form a lot of good sailors over there, and we're always competing with the nice and the best sailors in Brazil, and we want to keep doing that, creating more good performance sailors in the club. That's the idea.
What's your hopes and aspirations for the week?
We don't, we are brand new on this. A lot of professionals on the other boats, and we never been on this fleet before. But we're quite sure we can do a good job. I think if we can stay in the middle of the fleet, we're going to be very happy. Today we got a 2nd place. That shows that we can do better. And but as I mentioned yesterday on the presentation, and on this fleet you can go from heaven to hell in 2 minutes. So that's the idea. Start to try to stay in heaven for more time. That's probably.
Thank you. Great. And Puerto Portals is very much a family venue where a lot of the sailors bring their family to enjoy a little bit of holiday and some time in this beautiful lifestyle destination. So start off, introduce us to the kids.
Well, we've got Patrick, my little one at the end. We've got Hamish here, Theodore, friend's son, and we've got Charlie, Seb, the Allegra skipper's son.
So what do you think about your dad's job?
It's fun and it's nice and it's competitive.
And how often have you been to events?
Almost every single one in Portals and Menorca. Those are basically it.
And what do you like about coming to these events?
Well, pretty fun.
What do you think?
Fun. The boats are quite cool.
Quite cool.
What about the ribs? You like the ribs, don't you?
Yeah.
So what's it like for you guys? Obviously it's great. It's a great venue to come as a family.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's great for them to be able to come and see what we do and understand it, and yeah, it makes the time away easier.
What do you think about your dad's job?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I like coming and watching and going on like speed boats, and I like coming.
Do you like watching the racing?
Yeah.
So what was going wrong with the guys yesterday? What do you think?
I have no idea.
Didn't work out yesterday, did it, Hamish?
Yeah.
Must do better.
Yeah.
Whose fault was it?
I know who it is, but should I say it? Should I say it? No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
And what do you think? You having a good time?
Yeah.
Patrick, where have you got that from?
Shop.
All right. So what's happening today with the boys? What do you think we can do a little bit better, do we?
Well, they're out on the support boat, so hopefully they can bring us some luck today.
Good.
Yeah.
Good one. Well
Thank
done.
you. Cheers.
So let's go on the water and watch the racing. For the penultimate regatta of the season, we're here in Puerto Portals on the Sunshine Island of Mallorca. Once again, a venue, the ultimate lifestyle destination that really does feel like a home from home. We have 13 teams racing from 9 different nations. That means 2 new teams, Teasing Machine from France and Criolla from Brazil. And we have a brand new boat in the new Provezza.
We know where we are. We know we are starting in a very high-level series.
This fleet is very tight, boat to boat, bow to bow.
So far, seems like we're going okay, and we're trying to make it reliable, understanding, what strings to pull and when.
So great sea breeze conditions for race 1. The wind angle is 185. The beat is 1.7 nautical miles. Off the start line is Quantum Racing powered by American Magic, who get the best start, get out with an early lead. But out on the right, well, actually, Criolla team are going well. The Brazilian debutants, so too Gladiator get out to the right. But it's Platoon Aviation round the first mark in the lead. Criolla second, Gladiator third, and Quantum Racing powered by American Magic very much in the mix as they go round the top mark. Through the finish line, it's a race win for Platoon Aviation. The Brazilian debutants Criolla team gets second and third Gladiator. Conditions much the same for the second race of the day, about 8-9 knots on the start line. Great start from Gladiator off the pin end of the line, really good time and distance, and then they get out across the fleet. Lead round the top mark with Platoon Aviation in second, Interlodge in third, and that is the order all the way through. Gladiator get ahead, let Platoon off the hook slightly, Platoon get back to them. But at the finish line of race 2, it's a win for Gladiator, second Platoon Aviation, best boat of the day with a 1 and a 2, Interlodge through in third.
Yeah, it looks like we are learning where the back and the front of the boat is, but still you have to see that the boat concept of the boating boat is so different to the Frolic boat, but right now we are getting closer and get used to it a little bit.
We are sailing better the boat. Obviously, it's a new machine that you need to understand. The volume of this boat are different than the others, so we need to know how to trim the boat in the water, and I think that now we are getting closer.
Very happy with the first day. We have a very good first race. We got second place, so we can't complain.
So after 2 races, Platoon Aviation lead on 3 points, second are Gladiator on 4, and third are Quantum Racing powered by American Magic on 10 points. So 2 good races in sea breezes here in Puerto Portals. Join us again tomorrow. Well, welcome back to Puerto Portals, beautiful island off Mallorca. We've had a little bit of a delay waiting for the breeze to come in. The teams are now checking the start line and things looking promising. We're inside the countdown to the start of this race number 3. You're going to join Luis Vancer on the water. Luis, it's looking pretty good. Luis. So we don't seem to have Louise, but yeah, certainly looks quite good. We have a gentle light. Sorry, Louise, you have Louise. Louise, carry on. I beg your pardon.
Annie, hi. Yeah, we're here out on the water. I'm just next to the starting line, and it's great. The boats are getting ready. Everybody's in their pre-start routine. That means they're getting ready to start. They do a couple of practice starts, and they check the line, they check the wind conditions, and it's amazing out here. It's fresh. It has been so hot. We had a delay of 1 hour, but now the wind arrived at exactly 1 o'clock. There was a breeze filling into the bay, and I think we have like 10 to 12 knots from the south, and I think it will even increase. I've seen in the forecast that we will get up to 13 knots, and you see this beautiful little white clouds over the land, cumulus clouds, so they all speak for a great sea breeze, and they're a good indicator for that. And on top we will have an eastern gradient wind, so I don't think we will have the same conditions as yesterday. We have more wind, we have more choppy sea state, that means more little wave that stop the boat from going fast. And on top we have the wind more to the left, and whoever already sailed here in Palma Bay knows that the left side can be quite good, so if you're sailing close to the shoreline here. And I think there are a couple of challenges this time for the boats. First of all, we have 13 boats from 9 different nations. It's a lot of boats. That's like 3 more than we had for the last races in Newport. So there's not a lot of place at the start. Boats are very tight together, and if you had a bad start, it's very difficult to get in front again, because there's just not a lot of place on the race course. It's like when there is traffic on a highway, there's just not a lot of place to get around. And on top we have this left side that can be a little bit stronger, but the forecast also said that the wind will generally shift over the right through the day. That's also typical for a sea breeze here in the northern part of our world. The wind follows the sun. So yeah, I think it's kind of tough to find a balance between the left side, following the right shift, managing the start, having your own lane, and be clever at the mark approaches, as we will have some very tight situations on the upward mark and downward mark. We've seen that already yesterday. And also, Andy, I think another challenge today will be, as the wind clicks up, to always find the right gear. You can imagine this a little bit like in cycling. Sometimes you need to shift gear, so the more wind there will come, the boats also need to adjust their sail, adjust their trim, adjust everything on these boats, and this can be especially a challenge for the newer boats who are missing a little bit of experience still. Andy.
That's right, indeed. Just watching how the fleet are setting up, seems like platoon aviation or regatta leaders are setting up towards the pin end of the line, or certainly towards the left side of the main group. We have Gladiator just to leeward of them, bow number 4 with the red shirts, and meantime Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, just hitching up to windward. Now Quantum had their 3rd overall in this regatta so far, but they had a relatively modest day. Maybe they need to start pushing the risk just a little bit more. They had some good starts and then just seemed to get a little bit lost in the traffic. So in terms of risk, well, Gladiator, once again, we're seeing them going off the pin end of the line. They have platoon to windward, but Louis, Gladiator seem to have plenty of space round about them to drive off into.
Yeah, like Gladiator has massive space here to the pin, and they already get into their acceleration. They already bat away to be over target speed at the gun of the start, and here they start.
Here they go. It looks like should be a clear start, I think. Teasing machine at the windward end of the line seemed to be late, but a good start from the Gladiator. That has been... Sorry, we think we have one, perhaps a recall. Just boat going back looks to be value once again, I think. 2 boats going back. One of them is... No, we're not seeing it as yet, but certainly value seem, in fact, 3 boats going back. Sled, Alpha Plus and Provezza all going back, so that's going to be tough for them. Does open things up a little bit more as the main body of the fleet becomes essentially a 10 boat fleet. and it's a long time for these guys who are over. Took them some time to go back, but in the meantime we see this good start from Gladiator. Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, are quite nicely positioned just now. They have a bit of a drag race relative to Allegra, who are just above them. Paprec coming off the line nicely. They just need an extra metre just to pull themselves in front of Interlodge to windward. It's a real upwind boat speed test just now. Louis, Platoon Aviation not quite as sharp off the line. They really needed to try to be forward of Gladiator.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. I think Gladiator was really nailing that time to distance, and Platoon maybe was accelerating a little bit later, so that's a little bit dangerous. You always want to accelerate at least at the same time as the boat leeward to you, or better even earlier, so you can already have your bow forward to them. So they were just a bit late, but I don't know if that already means everything, because also yesterday in the second race they had a bad start, tagged out, and then managed to still finish second in that race, Andy. And I think there's still a lot of opportunities here in that race. It seemed like we had a right shift off of the starting line, and I think that's why also so many boats got all of the sudden so close to the line. And also the left side here where Gladiator started
so
at the pennant doesn't look like. No, not yet, not yet. Maybe at the end, as the gain from the left side will always just come in at the last third of the race track. So just at the very end, so they need to be patient now. Tony Langley here in Gladiator just needs to wait until he can tag and hopefully cross a lot of boats from that fleet. But yeah, I think Platoon now is in a position where they need to decide something to act, Andy.
Indeed, just watching them very closely. In the middle of the pack, as it were, you have Paprec and Interlodge. Phoenix also in that group. Phoenix had a fairly modest start to the regatta. They've won here twice before, and really need to impose themselves today if they're going to be repeating that level of success. Paprec, we saw them going well at times yesterday. They've got a good start, presently lying second. And Criolla, the Brazilian team we just saw in the previous shot, just to windward of Interlodge and Paprec. But interesting, you kind of come off day number one with Gladiator and Platoon going so well, and you just think, well, that's an element of momentum that they can carry on into the day. And then you have teams like Phoenix and Interlodge, who were not quite so brilliant yesterday, bouncing back today, and Phoenix going well, our early leaders in race number 3. So 2 boats going way out to the right are Alpha Plus and Sled, as you might expect, considering they were over the line. Allegra bailing out from their position, looking to find themselves a clear lane. Quantum going pretty well there, considering their position, holding on to that lane for the meantime. And as Louise said, the Gladiator really, certainly not much they can do there. They just have to be staying patient. Interesting to watch Paprec now pulling forward on Interlodge. You just see them trying to keep the bow high, squeeze up and get Interlodge in the lee bow. Great shot there on board with Interlodge as opposed to Gladiator. Just listening to their conversation on board. We have Chris Matthews steering. Tactician is Cameron Appleton, and Ian Moore back as a navigator. just discussing their speed and angle relative to Patrick, and just watch Patrick trying to climb up and hurt them. Meantime, Chris Matthews doing a good job on the helm. See, just a tiny little difference in speed between the two, but so they're just setting up to tack as that lee bow really starts to affect interlodge. And just seeing great speed, great height from Patrick, maximum concentration. And in the meantime, Platoon Aviation, Louise, they have work to do in 7th place. What's their options there? They could just have to stay patient, try and not drop into a Gladiator.
Andy, absolutely. I think Platoon Aviation is in a little bit of a difficult position here. I think Vasco is having a lot going on here. The tactician now probably discussing with Jordi Calafat, the strategist, also local here in Palma, he lives here, what to do next, because it still looks like for me that they're right shifted. So they don't really want to tack, because that would mean that they go against the shift, and they probably also expect more wind here on the left side. Now Gladiator just tacked and is crossing them in front, so that's great for them, because now they finally got their free wind, so air to breathe, to sail fast, to sail their own mount, and probably to execute their strategy, what they really want to do here. And now we can also see that also Quantum Racing decided to tack. It also looks like that probably the wind maybe shifted a little bit left now, so that would mean speak here for the boats to tack, but it can also be that they already think now about the upwind mark approach, Andy, as this is a super critical moment here for the first upwind. The boats are still really tight all together, and you can catch a lot of boats or lose a lot of boats from your positioning to this upwind mark here. And if you're not totally in front, you can't really go just in the left corner and tack, because then all the other boats will tack on you, and then you'd have again not enough wind to go fast, because they disturb your wind. So you have to position yourself early enough and think ahead how you will come back at the upwind mark, Andy.
Indeed, and just watching Patrick now, still going pretty well. They're alongside Criolla, just sailing slightly faster. What they don't want to do is to climb up into Criolla's influence by them. Anyway, they're tacking away, and would imagine, well, indeed, Patrick go now as well. So the breeze is shifting around a little bit, Louise. Phoenix going really nicely in the middle of the course, in phase with these shifts.
Exactly, it seems like only that the breeze now shifted back. We see most of the boats on port tack here out on the left, and now we also go upwind. I'm just on top of Patrick. They're full hiking here, even people sitting in the back, so the boats are full powered up. We have great conditions outside here at the moment. I think 13 knots, it's gusty, it's shifty, and we have waves rolling into the bay here. So great conditions for these boats now to sail. And it looks like that now this little feature we're speaking about is paying off. So we approach the last third of the course, and the boats here on the left side, so on the side I'm going up to as well, just look to have a little bit more wind, and their bow can point a little bit higher, so more towards the mark than the boats below. And we will see a lot of tacking here already, Andy, as the boats clear their lane and try to step out more to the left, but don't want to get pinned out to the left. So very tactical racing here at the moment for all the tacticians. They have plenty of work to do, brains working on full speed. Tough decision making at the moment, Andy.
Indeed there is, but credit so far to the Phoenix team, to Tony Norris on the helm, with Ed Baird calling tactics, and Cameron Dunn as strategist, Shane Elliott navigator. Really strong and proven team, and they like it here. Just had that problem yesterday, getting a penalty and not quite able to impose themselves the way they are at the moment. Also, though, credit to the Criolla team, very much in the mix. Allegra reading the shifts well and getting out into a clear air lane for them. So Interlodge and Platoon now the most left-hand boats. Just watching Vayu coming back at Interlodge. Very close cross with them. Platoon having to duck behind Vayu. Vayu tacking now. And that's going to hurt Platoon. Platoon are going to have to respond there, Louise, aren't they? They're not going to sit there for too long. This is what happens on this when the fleet is that much bigger. You're constantly stepping into trying to stay in clear air.
Andy, absolutely. I think that was now really painful for Platoon Aviation, unfortunately. So they stay now in the bad wind of Interlodge just in front of them. And also Vayu just tagged on them, so they don't really can tag out immediately, because once they tagged back, yes, they are on starboard, but they need to give room and time as well to Vayu. But they were somehow lucky. I don't exactly saw what happened, but Interlodge had to bear away and is now behind them, so they have all their place they want. So happy moment and lucky moment here for Platoon, who can say now the mode they want to do and fast to the upwind mark, Andy.
Indeed they can, a little bit further back in the fleet than they perhaps want to be, but as you say, they have something to work with on that left side. Let's see how the breeze works, whether the left becomes stronger, but it's a super close race all the way up this first beat. So a good lead for Phoenix so far. Got off the line nicely. Criolla, I think, fifth after the first day. So Quantum making good progress out on the right a little bit. We're just starting to set up for the first windward mark rounding. Louise, how's it looking? What's your thoughts in terms of the roundings? Quantum just tacking now.
Andy, yes, I just arrived at the upwind mark. We went full speed to catch up these fast boats in these conditions. And I thought, great maneuver here now from Phoenix coming into in the first place. They say the great race started. Windward had all the decision making they could do. And they're rounding now this upwind mark in first place. And just behind them, Criolla, the new Brazilian team. And when I spoke with them this morning, they said they want to focus on better starts to be more in heaven than hell. I really like that quote of them in the interview. And Andy, we will have some tight situations now here. Patrick being very shy on ley line. Let's see how this turns out for them.
Let's see. So fingers crossed for the French team. But it is Phoenix, the Plattner family team, winners here twice before, leading round the top mark. One at the back end of last season, the big finale here. Doing nicely, and Paparek getting round the top mark, I think, with no penalty, just holding Quantum out. Quantum down, Allegra in good shape, really, all in all. Teasing Machine just coming in behind, but for sure Gladiator are quite deep, as indeed are Platoon. So top mark, first round is Phoenix, second Criolla, third Paprec, Quantum Racing in fourth, Allegra fifth, Gladiator sixth, Teasing Machine in seventh, Platoon in eighth, so nice set by the Phoenix team. Got a lead of 13, 14 seconds, I think. So it looks, Louise, like everybody's just on a standard bear-away set. So the course is pretty square to the breeze at the moment. How much wind have you got just now then? Maybe 10 knots, maybe 11?
Andy, so I'm now just going downwind here with the boats together, and I think we have like 10 to 13 knots. It's beautiful. It's fresh wind, but quite warm. So I'm standing here in a t-shirt, so great sailing conditions. I really love it. And you can see some nice waves out here as well. So for the boats, this is perfect sailing. They now are all able to slightly put up their bow. They're in full power here with the Janaka, the big white sail they host only for the downwind, and the staysail they also put up. This is not a jib, this is a staysail. They only put this up for the downwind. And now I think in the end it was, yes, it was a little bit again the left side paying off for these boats, but just in the end, and you needed to be able to decide your moment to tack. And I think Phoenix were having a great start and being more windward of the other boats, and the wide shift off of the starting line really helped them to stay there long in control and decide their moment to tack. And Criolla, the Brazilian team, just followed them, also the French team. And Quantum Racing, they decided to go a little bit earlier. They weren't in such a great position there, but the tactician did a great work positioning himself early enough to think ahead how they want to come back at the upward mark, and now they're laying in a fourth place as a great result for them. And for the teams in the back, Andy, I think there's still a lot of opportunities for them to catch up. We see the three teams that were over early at the start line, they're basically back in the game. They're back untouched with the other boats. So you see it's possible to catch some other boats, because it's not only a one-way track. You have shifts and you have some holes as well, where there's sometimes not as much pressure as on the other side of the race course, for example. So I think this is not the game is not finished here. There is still a lot of opportunities for other boats to come back.
Indeed, something happened to Interlodge, obviously dropping down from. We were very much in the mix, coming around the top mark, down in 12th just now. But Phoenix, a very solid lead round, about 100 metres. And on the water, the old Gladiator chasing the new Gladiator. With not very much in it at all. Not to be confused. Fantastic, isn't it? I'm sure, hopefully, by Valencia, they may rebrand the boat with a French flag on it, you would hope. Or maybe Tony Langley's getting some revenue for advertising his company. However, good to see the Teasing Machine in contention in 7th place, chasing Gladiator. Nice little jibe there from Platoon Aviation. Interesting that Platoon and Gladiator are close together. Started side by side off the line. First and second in the standings at the moment. And Louise, Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. Not spectacular, but pretty solid.
absolutely. And I think what we've also heard now for Harmelash and many other owners and tacticians here, it's a bigger fleet, so it's all about consistency. You don't have to win every race. It's just important that in average you have the best score. So sometimes it's better to have consistent, so fourth or third. These are all keepers, as we learned from Harmelash from Platoon Aviation as well. But you don't want to have these up and downs really. So you win one race and finish the other one last. This costs you more than being a consistent racer, and I think Quantum Racing is doing very good in this always. And for me it looks like now that all the boats jibed. For me the wind shifted a little bit more to the right, so now the boats jibed to sail, to be in phase of the shifts and to avoid maneuvers on the racetrack. And Andy, I'm going very fast now down to the downwind gate already, so let's see what will happen there.
Let's see, but it seems to be a three-boat race at the moment, with Phoenix extending their lead down to the first run, and now 150 or so meters ahead of Criolla. Criolla, the former Provezza 10, one of the quickest boats on the water and certainly downwind. Paprec in third, fourth Quantum Racing powered by American Magic, and fifth Allegre. For great conditions. So heading down towards the leeward gate, first time down. Allegre we could just see out on the left. Great value in 9th, Alpha Plus in 10th. Sled fighting back as best they can. But it's looking like Phoenix will be first through the leeward gate. No significant place changes down this first run. So the only thing that's obvious is Phoenix's gains. Interesting. Certainly when you listen to the chat on the dock, it's certainly clear that most people regard Phoenix as one of the quickest boats on the water, particularly in these conditions. It's just good to talk with Cameron Dunn on day zero, when he was saying how they feel just when a regatta venue is special and you've won a couple of times, and you come here and you heighten your expectations, you work a little bit harder, and that's paying off for Phoenix. Charlie flag has been displayed, so small change in course 185. We started at 170, so as Louise was rightly saying in the start phase, just that the sea breeze would normally move right with the sun, and indeed it seems to be doing that, but that is a comfortable lead now as Phoenix lead up the second beat, going around the right hand mark, looking upwind. So Criolla then second in the first race yesterday, second in the first race today at the moment. Paprec around in third. So Louise, a little bit of daylight between the third boat and fourth.
Andy, yes, I'm here at the downwind gate, and I think Phoenix did a great job. They really extended their lead here, and they also won the Portals Sailing Week last year, as you remember. So I think they feel comfortable here in the venue. They know that they're fast. And for me, the top 4 boats, they're a little bit of a leading group here. Quantum Racing managed to extend a little bit from Allegro, and all the other boats are rounding here now. And I'm curious what they will decide for the next leg. Where to go, if to follow the shifts, what shift to believe in, what they think about the left side. And also for the new teams, Andy, as the wind clicked up, it's not all about going fast again. So we have Corolla in the front and also Teasing Machine in the mix. So now they need to do some sail changes, some trim changes to still go fast in this little bit more of breeze, Andy.
Indeed, just watching this, I said small gain to Quantum Racing, getting up to 3rd through the leeward gate. So it's super close with the Pat Preck. They're pretty even, really. But nice gain to Sled, who are up to 8th. And going quite well. They're lying 3rd on the circuit standings. So their objective is really to keep up the consistently high scores, or good scores, and avoid the big numbers. So the fleet starting to spread out now. But battles all the way through the fleet is super close, all the way between 1st and 12th. It's a little bit more breeze than we saw yesterday, as was forecast. It's certainly, Louise, worth waiting that extra hour just to get these conditions.
Absolutely, Andy. We have great sailing conditions out here. Full breeze, the boats are full powered up. Everybody hiking as much as they can. So very, very nice for these boats out here. And I really like that you said how close all the racing is. With 13 boats, looks even closer than what we've seen with the racing before. And yesterday when I spoke with the tactician of Quantum Racing, Victor Diaz de Leon, he told me that he had to judge crosses for 10 centimeters. So sometimes the boat will cross that's like just with a distance of 10 centimeters behind him, and oh my god, I wouldn't be able to do it. I would be so afraid on a 52 feet long boat to judge a 10 centimeter cross. But these are the moments that are deciding races like this, because if you make a cross, then you're ahead of a boat, and that means you're ahead of another boat and another boat, so it accumulates. And if you have to do a duck and then the boat tacks on top of you, or you just need to then have given a boat length away, that's very painful in this tight racing they're having here. And I think it's just amazing to have this class, because the boats are more or less all the same. There's some small differences, but they can really compete against each other, and this is just so cool to watch at the moment, Andy.
It is, but things start to even out a little bit at the front of the fleet. Criolla have about 50-60 metres on Paprec. The battle really is between Paprec, Quantum, and to a greater or lesser degree Allegro. But fantastic conditions, just probably 12 knots now, 12 to 13 knots, starting to get some flecks of white on top of the Bay of Palma waters. Should be some nice downwind conditions when we get there. And just Paprec just are going to probably keep a cover on Quantum as best they can. You can just see Paprec there in third, tacking out to the right to protect themselves against Quantum, just staying to windward of them. So for sure, Louise, not a one-way track as we often talk about on the Bay of Palma. Seems like the breeze is still potentially shifting right.
Andy. Yes, Andy, absolutely. It's not only a one-way track. We have this gradient wind as well that is bringing everything here a little bit out of control, more difficult, I would say. So it's not just a classic sea breeze standard from the book. It's more challenging, and I think that makes it even more tricky. So for the tacticians and strategists here to decide, and also the different wind strengths. We still have sometimes 9 knots and then 13 knots. It's quite a big difference for these boats to sail in. And now I'm here at the left side, just above of teasing machine, and most of the boats now tacked already onto port. We're here close to the left ley line, so to the line that brings you straight to the upwind mark, and all the boats are now thinking again about how to position themselves best to get into the upwind mark. And as you said, Phoenix is quite far ahead. For them, they just want to stay easy in control here at the moment. But for the other boats, they can still play with each other, and for them it's about positioning themselves at the right moment and fighting for every centimeter, because we've heard just before how important it is to cross a boat, and even if it's just for 10 centimeter, Andy.
Indeed, and just watching, you're seeing how the three-cornered battle between Quantum, Allegra and Paprec is developing. And it's one of these situations where the more that the first two boats get involved, in this case Paprec and Quantum, the more the door opens for Allegra in third. So Quantum in a difficult position, trying to chase and attack Paprec at the same time as defending against Allegra. So in this situation, Platoon still ahead of Gladiator. Wonder if we might ask our technical geeks to have a quick look at the projected standings after this race, if position stayed the same. Look at that, isn't that magic? You thought they were asleep eating Haribos next door, but not at all. So yeah, it would be Platoon Aviation still leading on 11 points. That's today's points, isn't it? No, so it'll be 11, 12 and 14, so the positions would still be the same. Criolla would be in fourth, so a really strong position for the Brazilian team on their debut on the 52 Super Series. But it's all about consistency. They didn't manage that yesterday, but perhaps they can today. So Platoon Aviation fighting to take places. Certainly in this race, it happy to be ahead of Gladiator. That's their number one rival for the Regatta title at the moment. And a nice little duel going on between Platoon Aviation and Gladiator. One of the features that we wrote about yesterday is the friendship and rivalry between Gigi Parada on the Gladiator and Vasco Vascotto. Great friends off the water, rivals on the water. And in the meantime, we're seeing that Teasing Machine have got themselves in between Gladiator and Platoon. That's all to the good of the German flag team, who are of course 52 Super Series champions, crowned here at the back end of last season. So how far do we got to the second windward mark, Louise?
Andy, so we are still going full speed here up to the windward mark. The boats are pretty fast in these conditions already. So we have 30 knots of wind, and we really need to go fast to catch up with them. That's amazing. And you've just seen how well Quantum Racing managed this upwind. I really liked it. They were playing with Allegra and with Paprec and just managed to get themselves now windward of Paprec. So Paprec was coming on port, couldn't really cross, then undertacked. Sorry, they came on starboard, obviously. Quantum Racing came on port, but they couldn't cross, so they undertacked Quantum Racing. And these boats are still quite tight together in a match, and it's for them now about to decide who will be in a third place and who will be in a fourth place. Behind it's a little bit more open, but there are lots of moments still to come, Andy.
Indeed, we're approaching the windward mark. Second time up on this race 3 here at the Puerto Portals 52 Super Series Sailing Week. Fabulous conditions, exactly what we come to the Bay of Palma hoping for. And Phoenix in pole position for the moment with a lead of 155 metres. On board briefly then with the Criolla team on the boat which finished second overall last season. Vrolic design. Won, I think, 3 regattas last year from memory. But really this race, the more we get into, the more it looks like a win for the Phoenix team. And Criolla have a big, nice cushion back to Paprec. But the battle going on all the time between Paprec and Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. It's just third place is yo-yoing between the two. So approaching this top mark. So no doubt about the leader. It's Hasso and Tina Plattner's Phoenix team. Have led all the way around the course since the early part of the first beat. Criolla will get a second. But it's great to see them coming in and doing well. It's a great advert for the 52 Super Series. A team which have loads of experience of sailing the 52s at home successfully. Picking up one of the best boats in the fleet. And showing that you don't have to have a team of top America's Cup rock stars to do well. So Paprec still ahead and just of Quantum Racing powered by American Magic. Allegri coming into the top mark, just a little bit slow and just making sure they're super safe on the mark. Allegri round in 5th. 6th round will be Platoon. Next round is a Teasing Machine. A little bit of a gap back to Gladiator. This race not going so well for the world champions. Who are in 8th, I think, round the top mark. Great images we're having from the downwinds from our drone pilot. Just see Phoenix coming down this run, just trying to sail as deep as he can, but still going fast. So in fact Alpha Plus round in 8th, Interlodge 9th, Sled 10th. And I think actually Gladiator down in 11th now. Just seeing them going round the offset mark behind the forest of kites. Gladiator 10th, Sled 11th, Vayu 12th. And Interlodge seem to be in all kinds of problems today. And it's Provezza then going round in 13th, so once again. So a pretty difficult baptism of fire for the Provezza team coming in mid-season with this new boat. However, it's all about next season for them. It's what they can learn. But great downwind conditions, Louise.
Andy, absolutely. We have amazing conditions still here. Wind picked up even a bit more, so now you can see these boats full powered up, riding down the waves. I've heard that these are the best sailing conditions for the GP52s. So nice to watch them out here. And I think we can still see some matches. I also saw that the upwind mark approach now we had with the last group, so basically place 7 to 13, showed how fast it can go from heaven to hell. We had Interlodge making great gains on that second upwind, basically being able to squeeze in on a 7th place, but they were leeward, super shy on ley line for the upwind mark, had to go high and slow, then the other boats passed them, and then they had to slow down even more, and now, yeah, unfortunately they lost a lot of boats, but Teasing Machine, the boat on 6th place, is just on the hip of Platoon Aviation. I mean, that's great for them, just being on the hip of the world champion of 2023 as a new team. And also the battle we can see between Quantum Racing and Paprick. I think there's still something they can do there. Quantum Racing is probably waiting now for Paprick to jibe, and then they just want to jibe before a couple of seconds to be on top of Paprick to disturb the bad wind. But Phoenix for me is sailing a solid and great race here. In first position, extending their lead step by step and sailing a clean race, being in control, staying in control. And sometimes when you're once ahead, it's easy to get past again. If you manage these things right, to position yourself always between your enemy, I will call it, so the boat behind you and the next mark you run around. So like this you make sure you don't burn anything and going fast. So usually we then see that the first boat is also extending because they get fresh wind first. They're the person or the boat to make a decision. And Andy, I wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix will cross the finish line first, but I think there's still some more matches behind that will be exciting to watch.
Indeed, just looking at the projected table just now, Gladiator so much deeper in this fleet, so losing their second place overall for the moment. But all good for Platoon with their 6th, 3 points yesterday, 9 points for them at the moment. But things moving in the right direction for the Quantum team for sure. On board then with the Criolla team, as Edward was telling us, I think six amateurs on board, all come from the same club. Three Olympics for Samuel Albrecht, the tactician. But a pretty experienced team. They go way back, I think, a dozen years together. Nice aerial shot, just showing P10 as it was. So that battle still going on between Quantum and Paprec. Quantum with the upper hand for the moment. Allegra not too far behind. Now then, Paprec trying to get down and jibe inside. We're looking like a great finish in prospect. We can see the on our horizon there, the Corinthian mothership of the Gladiator team. But what a great shot, showing just exactly how far Phoenix are ahead. I'm liking the way that Paprec are going there. They've got themselves into a nice clear lane, although I think they're just a little bit of a puff. It got them past Criolla, but Criolla just I think getting a little bit of dirty air perhaps, Louise.
Andy, absolutely. So we've seen something very interesting now on that downwind. It seemed like that some boats were able to get a puff. We saw that on Paprec and we saw that on Platoon. They were just a little bit more leeward, and when you look upwind, there was coming like a stripe of wind down more towards the right side, and they got into that pressure. They could go lower and get stronger on the boat ahead of them. So when the boat ahead of them then wanted to jibe, in the case we saw it perfectly with the Brazilian boat where Paprec then jibed off then, but also more behind with Allegra and with Platoon. We saw Allegra jibing and Platoon being strong of them because they had gained before with more pressure, and now they're on top of them. And you don't want to have a boat ever on top of you, because this gives you bad wind, slows you down, you're in the shadow of that boat. And yeah, that's a little bit painful at the moment, unfortunately, here for the Brazilian boat, but also for Allegra, who were in such a strong position. And then having the boat behind them being, call it luck or not luck, I always find it difficult. But in that case, it was really hard to see. But you could then just basically see it when the boats were already in the pressure and already getting very strong on you, Andy. So now, very close for the finish. I'm here at the finish line. Phoenix already crossing, Andy.
Yes, indeed. Phoenix winning their first race here in Puerto Portales this season. And at this regatta, good start for them. They sailed the first upwind beautifully, got in phase with the shifts. And full credit to them. It's going to be all about who comes in second. I think that's looking like Paprec. The French team were third at the top mark and seem to have got themselves just through Criolla. Battle between Criolla and so Paprec coming through now, but I think a little protest situation perhaps between Quantum and Criolla. Criolla just lacking wind pressure in their kite and just losing out on the finish line to penalty. Not sure who it's on, but it may be Criolla having to do their turn now. Yeah, they're saying let's go. So Quantum Racing stealing a third out of that, and coming through I think in fifth position will be Platoon. Allegra just stealing in there at the boy end of the line. Teasing Machine over on the left, getting fifth. Just watching our tracker. Quantum certainly came through in third as long as they don't have a penalty. The penalty was on Criolla, who are still doing their turns, and not sure what happens with them since they were through the line before they did their penalty. So that's one for the jury, I'm quite sure. Anyway, in the meantime, it looks like a Platoon or it should be Quantum get third, Platoon fourth, I think. Teasing Machine, Alpha Plus. Good recovery from them. Sled coming through now, a little bit of a recovery from them as well. They were over, and Interlodge, Gladiator very deep in this race. and so too Value. So Alpha Plus gets 7th, 8th is Sled, 9th Interlodge, 10th is Gladiator, 11th Value. That's the Queen with the life vest on at the front of the boat. And a pat on the back from one of the crew. But really loving her week sailing here in the Puerto Portals 52 Super Series sailing week. A royal presence. And Prevezza coming through in 12th. It's clearly got a lot of learning to do, and one of the things is getting off the start line. So that result just missing Quantum, who, as far as I'm concerned, came through in 3rd, Platoon 4th, Teasing Machine would be 5th. But Louise, a good race win for Phoenix for sure.
Andy, absolutely. Phoenix had a great race, sailing very clean and fast, and just managed to get themselves enough in front to don't be involved in this spectacular finish. Oh my God, what a finish it was with this last gust the boats got, and then there was a lot of position changing because some boats were in control, other boats had their bad wind, and wow, what a finish. That was really spectacular. Paprick, they're getting Criolla and finishing in 2nd. Great race for them, I think. And also Quantum Racing having a quite aggressive move there, to be honest. They were really targeting Criolla and saying, all right, we have to fight for every place here because this is so important to finish 3rd and not 4th. So they were targeting Criolla and waiting until they got on them and then being able to jibe on them and pass them. Great job from them. I think Criolla didn't keep clear there as Quantum Racing was coming on starboard, and probably Criolla was hoping to get a protection from the finish line, so they have a room inside of 3 boat lengths from the finish line, so Criolla was probably hoping to get a protection there already, but Quantum Racing was on starboard, so right of way, and then jibing on them. Yeah, great race, great finish here. Also Platoon Aviation still catching so many boats after such a difficult start. We remember they were just windward of Gladiator there after the starting line. Really difficult position. Yeah, that was a nice race, Andy. I'm so excited for the next one. Wind is still the same, and it's a little bit gusty and shifty. Lots of things to do here.
Indeed, just looking on board Criolla at the moment, they're very, very dejected, just debriefing that finish. They did so well all the way around the race course, and then just coming into the finish, as Louise said, just infringe Quantum Racing powered by American Magic. So that really cost them. They would have been 3rd, I think. I think they'd lost Paprec, but in the end they're getting 13th place, and that's a tough blow considering how well they sailed, Louise.
Absolutely, Andy. So I think the same rules apply here in the TP52 as I also have for my 470 class. So Criolla got a penalty while it's basically crossing the finish line. So that penalty still applies for the boat. Criolla dropped the Janaka, but they only had their stay sail up from the downwind. So in theory, you then need to sail
clear
back
of the line
on the race course. So out of the finish line, exactly, clear of the line, do your turn and enter the finish line again. They didn't do that. I think there were a lot of things going on for them, unfortunately. And yeah, so that's why they get the last place for that race.
Indeed, but it's a really tough break for them. Gladiator a little bit deeper. We could have a quick look at them on board. Or Tony Langley just getting his coffee, or his big into hydration as the Gladiator team. So they've got a little bit of debriefing to do as well. They not quite, well, they started off the pin, but not quite able to impose themselves as we've seen in previous races. So some food for thought for them, but Platoon Aviation still on top. A good race for the Paprec. I think we'll probably take a little bit of a break. Oh no, we're not. We've got the standings just now, so 6-point margin just now for Platoon Aviation. Quantum Racing powered by American Magic moving up to 2nd place, courtesy of that 3rd in the first race today. Gladiator that 10th hurting them. They're now in third, 1 point behind Quantum. Paprec, well, they're in fourth place, 6.82 so far. 2 points behind the Gladiator, not far behind the world champions. Phoenix moving up after that 18-point day yesterday with a win. They're up to fifth. Interlodge in sixth. Sled are in seventh. Alpha Plus in eighth. The Vayu ninth. Allegra pretty deep, really. A better race for them in fifth after these 2/10ths yesterday. Criolla, unfortunately, 2:12 and a 13 there, so they're much lower down the leaderboard than they went on the water today. Teasing Machine in 12th and Prevezza in 13th. So that's a quick look at our leaderboard after the first race today. I'm sure we're going to roll straight into the second contest of the day. We're going to take a little bit of a break and join us again in a few minutes.
You forced me to work on myself because you put me through hell.
Thank you for that.
I'm okay, but it was a real close call. It went from a walk to a crawl, and a 10 on the Berlin Wall. I was panicking, but hey, I guess there was some vacuum, and that shit was hard to do. I've had every shade of the blues since I met you. She loves me. She loves me not. The petals hit the floor. was nothing we were scared to do when we didn't know the way or where we were going. That was back when forever seemed a million miles away, and we didn't know it. 'Cause we were taking off our ways of running, wasting our days for nothing, saying I love you in the backseat of my car. Well, do you remember all of the nights we spent alone? When we were burning the embers, waiting for the sunrise in the morning, bring us home. You know that I do. But tell me, do you remember? Yeah, do you remember? Tell me, do you remember? contemplating all my time. My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if there's peace that I could find, instead of always being on the grind. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I could go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away. It gets so loud that I can barely hear. But your words speak much louder than all my fears. Sometimes I just wanna disappear, running until I can feel you near. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I could go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away.
Take me home, take me on a ride. I got a good feeling about the colors lighting up your eyes. Take me home.
We ready? Who ready? We ready? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? We ready? Who ready? We ready? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who?
Welcome back to beautiful Puerto Portals and Bay of Palma in fine form as we're going to race number 4 of the 52 Super Series Puerto Portals Sailing Week, and conditions look to be really good. A little bit more breeze perhaps, although the breeze has actually moved left, I think, Louise, hasn't it?
Andy, Yes, we are back for race number 2 of today. And I think the breeze clicked up a little bit. I think we have now probably in the gust even to 15 knots, so champagne sailing conditions here in Palma Bay at the Puerto Portal Sailing Week. Amazing. And I think the shifts are still playing a important position here for the next race, because we've just seen that they changed the race course more back to the left. So 165 is our bearing now, and before, on the last upwind of the race before, we were at 185, so 20 degrees more right. I'm quite surprised by the left shift, to be honest. Maybe it's this eastern gradient wind that is pushing in now more, that is making the wind also want to go more to the east. So let's see what's now the big factor for the next race. I wonder if now the left side will be more important as the wind is more to the left. Yeah,
You're stealing my questions.
Really wonder. It's a tough call now.
You would imagine in particular, because with the easterly gradient, you would imagine that the breeze will wrap round Cabo Blanco, which is that big high point out to the left of the race course. We're going to know that very, very quickly, unless there's any committee boat end of bias. We're going to see fairly quickly whether the traffic sets up at the pin end of the line. It's all about risk management, isn't it? And the kings of risk tend to be Gladiator, although it's a very assumed, carefully measured risk. They do like the pin end of the line, and they are very, very good at time on distance. So about a minute 50 on board quickly with the Gladiator, just going through attack. Jeff Povey there, the legendary Nottingham grinder, at the back of the boat, and just watching how things set up. But quite a number of boats at the committee boat end of the line. Louise, I would say, certainly not obviously left-sided at the moment.
Andy, I agree with you. So at the moment it looks like that all the boats set up more at the committee end, so where the boat is to the right side. It looks like that the boat is maybe a little bit right shifted again. So I think the shifts still play an important role here. And we had the forecast also going more to the right. It just feels like that things are getting a little bit more unstable now, as we remember the race before with this crazy finish to the end where there was just a line of pressure coming down. I also see this now on the racetrack. We have more areas with strong wind and then other areas with lighter wind, so pressure differences over the race course, Andy. And I see Gladiator again here, leeward of Quantum Racing. They don't go completely to the pin end this time. This didn't work out so well for them in the race before, but they're still the leftist boat. So we are now in the last 30 seconds, Andy, of the start.
Indeed, and I think it's Gladiator most pin end. Indeed it is. Once again, they have lots of space to drive off into, and actually most of the fleet contained within the top half of the line. So clearly feeling that the breeze is very much in a right phase as we come into the final seconds. Bow 4, then Gladiator over the start line, that's what I thought. So Gladiator having to go back, have to dip back through the line. One boat up there actually was actually Phoenix, who looked to have a terrible start. Unable to, they were just late on the line and still trying to get themselves across. They didn't quite know what happened, or the communications broke down on the Phoenix, which obviously won that first race. Good start though for Quantum Racing, Louise, by the looks of things. Once again though, Platoon a little bit of traffic, not able to get themselves into a clear lane off the line. They're in dirty air of Interlodge. Better start from Provezza this time. Provezza doing well off the line, unlike the previous race when they were over the start. So Quantum with the early leaders, the best starters, I would say, Louise.
Absolutely, Andy. So Quantum was starting the most leeward here of the fleet, and as Gladiator was over the line, unfortunately, that's very, very good for Quantum Racing, as they can now say their own mode. They don't have to worry about any boats more to the left of them, so they can go fast. But for me, it looks like that the wind is still a little bit right shifted, so the boats that started more windward of Quantum Racing can put their bow up a little bit more in direction to the upwind mark, so the mark they want to go next to. So Quantum Racing has to wait now for next shift to be able to tack and cross or then go behind. It's now for them to be patient, but great start for them off of the start line. And Phoenix, yeah, as you said before, they were a little bit late, and as all the boats wanted to start at the race committee, there's no space anymore. I wouldn't have been surprised if there's only half a meter between all these boats, because they were all so packed at the right side, Andy. And for me, it's now the match between Quantum Racing being able to make this left side pay, or also PUERTO is looking very good from my perspective, Andy.
So in the meantime, Interlodge a little bit struggling just in dirty air. But the big question for them is where they can go to. It's pretty expensive. I don't think they would cross Platoon, which is just, I think, isn't it Platoon who are just to their weather. But certainly the best start we've seen off this regatta so far from PUERTO. Quantum to leeward there. They have clear air and going fast. And Criolla, once again, a good start and a good first meet for them so far. Clear, they know themselves, know their way around a windward-leeward course pretty well. So Value back in 13th. I think there was a penalty for them against them on the start line, or just after the start. All the time then, Phoenix fighting back. They seem to be impeded at the start gun, or were late over the line for sure. The battle between the Platoon Aviation and Gladiator. It's Platoon with the upper hand just now. So Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, Louise fighting hard.
Absolutely, the guys are really full hiking here. So all the crew is out and trying to even point their tippy toes as much out as they can, because they're fighting for every centimeter in this tight fleet racing here to make a cross or don't make a cross, because that will be deciding their race in the moment and in the position they are. So at the moment they just need to wait. It slowly looks like that the wind slowly starts to shift back left. So happy mode probably then on Quantum Racing, who really want to have a left shift to be able to tack and cross most of the boats, as they will be on port tack. After their tack they need to give right of way to all the other boats that are on starboard tack. But PUERTO is really also holding their pace windward of them. They were struggling a little bit in the races before, Andy, but in that race they seem maybe to have changed something. They have a new boat, so things are to try out, and now they found a magic gear. It looks like they are on the same pace as Quantum Racing, staying nicely in control there.
Indeed, and Criolla just on board with them momentarily, just watching the new PUERTO just to leeward and ahead of them. So interesting how the fortunes wax and wane with different teams. Platoon Aviation, though, pretty consistent really. Just not getting the start that they wanted. They just ended up a little bit buried off the line. You really just have to be on the gun, as Louise said, ahead of target numbers. at max speed, and that wasn't the case for Platoon, but Vasco and Jordi Calafat working hard, working their special magic. They're quite nicely positioned in terms of the group to their leeward and ahead of them just now for the moment. And their question is when the boats to leeward start to tack like Quantum, whether they go early as Criolla have done. You just see that now. And a little bit the question is whether, look at that cross with Quantum or Sled electing to tack and try and impose a lee bow on Quantum. Quantum have pace and height on them just now. And Ergen Imri's team on the new Prevezza electing to just bank what they have and keep the fleet in check. This is all about fleet management, Louise, isn't it?
Absolutely, Andy. You exactly said what I was thinking. So Prevezza did a nice move here. They had a great position and they had all the boats under control. Quantum Racing was probably already thinking about how to position themselves at the next upwind mark, so they went early, as they also expect then to have other boats undertaking them, as Sled did very nicely there. And then Prevezza just did another tag. They're nicely in control of them. They're protecting the left side, and at the moment the left side looks better for me, Andy. So now they have all the control, just following the other winds. And you can already slightly see how Prevezza can just point a little bit higher than the boats below. And we can start to see this gain feature here from the left side slowly paying off. I think it will hold until the end, so boats going more to the left will have more wind and will start to point even higher. I remember plenty of races in my first 70 time here in that wind conditions, and it's just incredible this effect the left side has here at the end. Let's see if we have it this race again, Andy.
Indeed, but a great race all in all. Great spectator viewing, just understanding the different moves on the geometry of this race course, and we say fleet management is what it's all about for Prevezza just now. Gladiator have stepped out to the left where we feel the advantage is. Just fascinating to watch Gigi Parada as he comes up after attacking the boat, just keeping an eye on the fleet to leeward of him. No hurry to come up, just he's watching much more, you'd say, than other helmsmen in the fleet. Other helmsmen are just focused on the speed. You can see that Gigi is very much involved in the fleet management, as we're saying, or just certainly knowing where other boats are and what they're doing, and he's clearly part of the decision-making process. So Paprec going quite nicely in fourth. I think they've got that boat going well this season. Loic Perron really has made a difference, and he's really loving the challenge of racing in the inshore Grand Prix racing. So I think that John Cutler was telling me that 16 knots, I think 16 knots was as much breeze as they sailed the new Prevezza in, and even then it was not for very long, but the boat is going well, no doubts about that. On board then with the Interlodge, who are just tacked underneath Platoon. Platoon have to counter move to be in the Interlodge's lee bow, so they couldn't live there, so they have to tack back out to the left. I don't think any immediate problem for them if we feel the benefit is on the left. But then there comes to be a point where it becomes very difficult to get back into the fleet from that side. But this really is vintage TP52 racing. It's nice, big, competitive fleet. Boats trading tacks all the time. And Paprec tacking underneath Platoon. So this left side, Louise, seems to be working a little bit of magic. To some degree, certainly Platoon seems to have made a gain out of this left side.
Andy, absolutely. I'm driving here full speed up on the left side to the upwind mark because the boats are going quite fast, and I said it already before, we really need to make sure we manage their pace to stay in touch with them. And I'm just here on top of Platoon. And yeah, I think if there would be no other boats around, the magical course would be to sail in the left corner and tack, maybe take some shifts, but I'm at that moment not sure how many shifts happen on this upwind. But as there are other boats who also want to go there, there's a lot of traffic on that side. And each time you try to come back from the left side to tack and go to the right side, you don't have right of way. So you need to... Exactly. So you need to go behind on the tack, and then you get more and more out of the left side. And then you can be that you get over the ley line, and that's really to avoid, because then you give so important meters away. And now we've just seen, maybe you can see it quite good on the tracking, that Criolla, the Brazilians, just undertake Platoon Aviation. So Platoon Aviation is now in a tough position again to hold their lane. But I'm at the upwind mark, Andy, now. And now I can see what side will arrive first and how the boats will arrive here, Andy.
It's going to be interesting, and looking like Prevezza 10 and Prevezza 11 may go round the mark 1 and 2. And it's so close. I mean, places are changing all the time. All about this top mark approach. The safest approach is out on that starboard tack ley line, but it has to be pin sharp. Just, if anything, if you know you're going to have pressure into the mark, you can afford to go a little bit shy on the ley line. But in this case, in this fleet now, it's better to be safe. But for sure, then a fantastic advert for the Prevezza boats. I don't know if there's any team orders where Ergen Imre's team say, yes, you can have the new boat, or you can have our old boat, but you're not allowed to beat us. Anyway, top mark approach. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be close. Actually, probably better coming in from on port by the looks of things than Prevezza, crossing ahead of their old boat, Criolla going on a little bit. It's going to be close at the top mark, but looking very much like P11, Prevezza 11. Great ley line call from Nacho Postigo, the wizard of Palma Bay. So they come round now, bow number 9. Prevezza leading. Got themselves off the start line nicely. Criolla will be second. Platoon just a little bit tight on ley line, but they're going to shoot round. For them, interlodge or boat length to weather. But Platoon get round in third. Fourth in the end is, I'm going to hear a whistle, fourth round will be sled. Gladiator caught in on the mark, Louise. underpowered, trying to shoot the mark, but not quite got enough pressure, enough speed to get round. But they are getting round okay, I think, in the end. So 5th round Interlodge, 6th is Paprec, 7th in the end Phoenix. Remember, Phoenix were late at the start. Gladiator I had round in ahead of Phoenix anyway. And Value Alpha Plus, Teasing Machine, Allegra, and in the end, Louise, I think Quantum coming round in 12th or 13th. What happened with them?
Andy, oh my God, what upwind mark approach was that? So a lot of boats came into last moment from the left on port. They were all undertaking the other boats who came then on starboard, who had to manage the upwind mark approach way earlier. And Quantum Racing was actually in a kind of fight with Sled. So they did a couple of tacks, and then I haven't quite seen if Quantum Racing, they tacked back onto starboard and Sled undertacked them, and I haven't quite seen if they were just not keeping clear in their tack, or if they then, as a windward boat, didn't stay clear of the leeward boat, so Sled. But anyway, they broke a rule there with Sled, so the jury gave them a penalty, and oh, that's so painful. They were, I think, in 4th before, and now they're in last. Yeah, so that's heaven to hell in this tight racing here with 13 boats all arriving at the same time, and especially when boats are arriving last moment from the left, this gives all the excitement. There was another super nervous moment for me when Gladiator was so shy on that ley line. They had to point into the wind there and hoping to go around the mark with the last momentum they still had in these boats. Yeah, so a lot going on there at this upwind mark, and the boats are so tied together now.
Yeah, indeed, but the advantage is with Ergen Imri's Preveza team. We've seen this situation before on the Bay of Palma. It's been both, as you would say, Louise, heaven and hell experiences for them over the years in the Bay of Palma, and at the moment they're going well. Overhead then view of the 2023 52 Super Series champions platoon. So this is looking like a good race for Platoon Aviation at the moment, in second. Interlodge trying to find something on this right side. They have Sled on the right hip. Just responding, we're just watching Interlodge responding as Sled Jibe staying in phase with Sled. Interlodge are leading them. It's looking quite even down this run, do you think, Louise?
Andy, I think the conditions are absolutely amazing now. So we have wave rolling into here. Most of the boats are now on the port jibe. That's when the wave is coming exactly in front, so they can surf the waves and nicely play with them. That's so much fun now to sail these boats on downwind. I expect a lot of happy faces because this is what they go for, and this is brilliant sailing here at the moment. But it still looks a little bit gusty in some points. We have pressure differences and we also have shifts. So I it's not quite easy to predict always what's the next right thing to do. But I've learned that in moments like this, you just want to avoid to do a bad thing. So if you're already on that side, not do the bad thing, you probably do a right thing. And you kind of don't always know when the next pressure is coming down. That's why we also see sometimes on the tracking here how the meters between the boats are changing quite fast. This is then when another boat got new wind from the back and is making meters good on the boats who didn't get this pressure yet, Andy. So I think we see some changes probably in the leaderboard once we are at the downwind mark, and the boats are still quite together, so they're in a lot of mode changes because they want to stay clear of other boats. They need to maybe sail sometimes slower than they want to because otherwise they will get in bad wind, or they need to sail higher than they want to actually cover another boat. So these are all the decisions at the moment going on these boats. A lot of work between the downwind trimmer, so the sailor who's trimming the big white sail, the Janiker, and the helm to steer down the waves very fast, but also between the tactician and the strategist to find out when to plan the next maneuver, what is actually the right mode to sail here at the moment. And also the navigator who is calling the ley lines and the split. So how much time still to sail on the other jibe? So full on these boats at the moment, Andy.
Indeed, on board with Interlodge. Just you see them just picking up a nice little gust and powering up, accelerating. Great conditions, but it's pretty much as Francesco Mangelli said this morning. He predicted us would have a good breeze, but the breeze would be quite streaky with light patches and shifts, as Louise was just saying. But once again, though, it's interesting. It's kind of like the group of 4 boats breaking free at the front of the fleet, and then a gap of 150, 200 metres back to 5th. So it's very much the case then, isn't it, that you can get round clean in the top 4 at the windward mark. Then if you read the breeze, read the shifts, make them work for you, don't get involved with the other boats. And one thing that has been impressive about the Preveza team before, particularly on this bay, is their ability to build a big lead, sail fast, use the shifts, use the pressure. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Criolla team can hang into this 3rd place. I think it'd be a little bit of a bittersweet 3rd if they can pull that off, Louise, wouldn't it? It's kind of like, yes, we've proven what we can do, but it's kind of woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Absolutely, I think they can be already very proud of what they have achieved today. I mean, they almost finished the race before in 2nd position, almost finished it in 3rd, and then I think they're still missing a little bit of experience in this super tight racing we are having here. As Quantum Racing, such an experienced and professional team, was then targeting them a little bit there on that starboard jibe. And I think if they manage to finish this race somewhere in the top group, avoid maneuvers and mistakes now and interference with other boats, they will manage to finish strong that race, because I think on a one-on-one with another boat, they might still miss experience, Andy. And I'm here at the downwind gate now, and we see the other boats rounding. Preveza just rounded now, and Platoon is following them.
Indeed, Platoon going well. In 2nd, both going round the right-hand mark, looking upwind. Why would they choose the right-hand mark, do you feel, Louise?
What mark I would have choose? I think it depends a little bit on where I am in comparison to the other boats and what shift we have at the moment. I kind of like the mark of Interlodge, but I think also Preveza just wanted to avoid another maneuver because that always slows you down.
Indeed, so Preveza platoon round the right hand mark, as indeed our Criolla. Then Interlodge going well now. Gladiator then chasing Phoenix round the mark. Gladiator in 7th, Phoenix in 6th. But really these mark roundings are so busy, so tight. 20-second lead then for Preveza over platoon. Criolla the same distance behind. Criolla the same distance behind. So pretty physical conditions all in all. Not the most physical, but it's max hike for the teams. Makes a big difference on these upwinds. Watching Interlodge then. Interlodge are just 1 point behind Phoenix on the overall standings. As we go in, getting into the second half of race number 4. So overall then, things looking pretty good for Platoon Aviation. Have had a pretty tough season so far, one thing or another. But certainly think they can, besides everything else, reflect on the good work they've done since they launched the boat in late April, early May here on the Bay of Palma at the first regatta, Palma Vela. Platoon won the Rolex TP52 World Championship here in 2022, I think. Sorry, 2021. And of course, this is where they finally won the Super Series title last year. So look at that, it looks pretty good then for Platoon Aviation then. Flying high on 9 points, second are Gladiator on 21, Paprec on 21, Interlodge 23, Quantum 26 for Sled, Phoenix 27. But that is the projected standings if positions in this race number 4, if they stayed the same to the finish line, and that in some cases is unlikely, and in other cases quite likely. And of course, this being a particularly difficult race for Quantum, getting that penalty at the windward mark. And as we said at the start of the regatta, when you make mistakes, they're even more punishing, even more expensive with a 13 boat fleet. 3 point lead on the circuit standings for Gladiator coming into this regatta. It was 9 this morning, and just now Gladiator putting another 6 points on the 2024 leaderboard over Quantum. As Guy Parada was saying to us in the first interview we did, he's really not ever looking at the circuit leaderboard, but absolutely sure it's at the back of his mind a lot of the time, just keeping an eye on where where Gladiator's primary rivals are, them being Quantum and Sled in particular. It was interesting to talk to Vasco yesterday as well. He was, he's very much talking about pulling points back and trying to certainly make a podium by the end of the season. He said there's still plenty of races left, especially in a 13-boat fleet. Plenty of points on the table.
Andy, so some interesting things are happening here at the moment, I think. So I really liked so far how Interlodge sailed this second upwind here. I'm following the boats from the left side going upwind, and it looked like that out of the gate they had a right shift, so that's why all of the boats tacked quite fast back onto starboard. And now they here on the left side, they got more pressure and the left shift, so Interlodge took the chance to tack back onto port to clear their lane now and to have now the space they want. And they probably already think about their upwind mark approach, because you need a long time ahead here to think ahead and to plan ahead, to position yourself nicely. And they already gained a couple of boats. You remember you asked me what downwind gate I would round, and I told you that I really liked the gate Interlodge was rounding. They already catched up Sled and probably also the Brazilian team, who all rounded in front of them. So nice race by them. Let's see how long Platoon Aviation and Provezza will follow here to the left side. Platoon Aviation had some massive gains on the upwind before, when they were like so patient sailing to that left side. So nice racing so far here by the boats and good positioning by Interlodge, Andy.
They did. We're looking at Sled, who are presently 5th, but really Platoon have actually gained quite nicely on Provezza, although big separation or big lateral separation. Provezza still have the advantage just now of being to the right of Platoon, who are just tacked. But once again, Louise, it's about fleet management for Provezza, isn't it? Trying to protect against Platoon on the left, yes. But you have boats out on the right like Criolla and Interlodge. Interlodge, as you said, gaining on the right. Provezza can't afford to let the boats to their left completely off the hook just to cover the boats on the right.
Andy, actually you just said it, and whilst you said it, we are watching Platoon now going towards the direction of Provezza, and I can't really see yet if they can cross or not, but it will be a very, very, very tight cross. And Platoon Aviation was actually able to cross Provezza in front. What a great move here by Platoon Aviation. Well done. They tacked out earlier to the left side, and Provezza stayed in an easy cover with them. So actually everything nice sails. Well done to Provezza. But then Platoon was just getting stronger and stronger as they were a little bit earlier in this gain here from the left side. And now they overtook Provezza and they are leading. Let's see. Provezza is rolling now into the tack. So now they are more to the left. Now, I will tell a little bit what's probably going on these boats in the minds of the tacticians, because that's very interesting what will happen now. Platoon is now leeward of Provezza. That means the next maneuver Platoon will do, they will have right of way. They will come on starboard to Provezza. Provezza on port has two options. Or they go behind, or they can undertake. And as we are already quite close to the ley line of the upwind mark, this will happen much likely very, very close to the upwind mark, Andy, and the boats are very close, and I think, I wonder who will be in front, Andy. What do you think?
I think Platoon. I mean, the key thing, as you were saying, is Preveza should have the slight advantage of being to the left, but Platoon will go to the starboard lane line, I think, now, and as soon as they get there, then they have the power of the right over Preveza. I mean, the question is whether Preveza should have recognised the consistent or the improving gain on the left and gone with Platoon earlier, but it was really as it was about, we were saying, fleet management, trying to manage the boats round about you. And certainly the majority of boats were at that point to their right. However, interesting whether this gain can work for Preveza. But already, I mean, look at how much the margin has overturned in the last 5 minutes. Platoon now 115 metres ahead of Preveza. Criolla hanging in there in third, or Criolla have pulled back to third. Interlodge had that initial gain. They're really liking the Criolla tactics. They say they clearly know their way around a race course such as this, racing in such an evenly matched fleet. On board with Interlodge, Chris Matthews steering, as I said, this week. Platoon third at the top mark, first time up. Second at the leeward gate and making that gain on the second upwind. But all the time then, Preveza learning this new boat. It's only been in the water since the middle of August, certainly second half of August. Built at King Marine and launched, or it's actually splashed in the water just a day, I think, ahead of schedule. So approaching this top mark, look at that ley line from the Platoon aviation team. So I reckon the Preveza team may be a little bit disappointed with themselves as Platoon aviation get round, although second in this new boat will be a step in the right direction. Considering they go into this race quite deep on the leaderboard. In fact, 13th on the leaderboard, 7th, 13th and 12th. So second would be a massive jump for them. Preveza round in second. It's looking to me, oh well, it will be Interlodge, I think, getting round in third. Indeed, then Sled next in fourth. Paprec a little slim on ley line, particularly with a boat. Criolla just the weather of them. It's going to be tight for Paprec. Look at that. Cedric Chateau having to work really hard with his trimmers. But he's a vastly experienced helmsman, and this is a fairly standard move. However, losing a boat length or so to Criolla because of that, but keeping themselves in their 6th place position. Gladiator round in 7th. So in some respects back to earth with a bit of a bump, I think, today for the Gladiator team. Tenth in the first race and presently 7th. However, it's not about winning regattas, it's about winning the season. Looking down that beautiful final run of the day. Eighth round is Phoenix, winners of the first race. Ninth, Teasing Machine. So watching that jibe on the Prevezza, see how they get the kite across and filling before the main comes across. So too the case on Platoon Aviation. Platoon Aviation on course for their 2nd race win from 4 starts. So Louise, down this final run then, it's Platoon's job is to protect themselves against any advances from Prevezza out on their left side. They want to stay inside them ideally.
Exactly, and you said already what they have to do next. But I still think this is not it. This is not all, because we've seen in the upwind before, like Prevezza actually was in control of Platoon and managed to protect them, and the Platoon just got so strong with more wind that they were able to cross in front. But Platoon really want to avoid here Prevezza overtaking them again, and Prevezza really want to make sure they don't make Platoon extend. But yeah, from my perspective, Andy, at the moment the distance between the boats looks already quite big, so I'm not sure if Prevezza has so many more chances to make meters good here on Platoon. Platoon Aviation is having a great mode. They're sailing fast. They just make more and more meters forward. But we've seen in the race before, Andy, if you remember, this spectacular finish where some boats got a little bit more wind and were then able to go down on other boats and overtake them. So I think it's not the end of the race yet, but we see a group in front extending Prevezza and Platoon, but then the 5 boats behind, they're getting closer and closer.
Louise, I'm relying on you to watch them through the finish line.
Sounds good. I have an eye on them.
Good for you. I'll look after Platoon and Prevezza and maybe Paprec, and then after that it's up to you.
Copy that.
But yeah, it was such a super close, exciting finish last time. I think the same thing is on the cards, just looking how close Interlodge, their sled, Criolla team and Paprec are almost overlapped or trying to be overlapped. Gladiator going out to the left of them. No, I think we're okay. We're just watching the angles just now for me. Sled looking good coming down. If anything, maybe Interlodge have jibed into something a little bit lighter. Is the breeze dropping away very slightly, Louise, compared to the previous round?
Andy, for me the breeze got even more unstable, so we have now even bigger holes of no wind and then other parts of the racetrack with breeze. So there are bigger pressure differences here that also then show off in bigger angle changes of the boats and speed differences. And Interlodge decided to jump out first. They were the leading boat of this group of 5 boats I had mentioned earlier. So I think they tried to stay out of trouble there, but yeah, it's hard to say at the moment. Also, sled is not going so fast anymore. In general, the breeze dropped a little bit. I think we have now 8 to 10 knots, but before we had, on the first upwind of that race, we had up to 15 knots, I would say. So more things going on now, more decisions to make, and it just gets a little bit more unstable. And hard to say what boat is here in front at the moment of this group of 5 boats I had mentioned. But if we look back in front to Platoon and Provezza, I think also Platoon had identified that the day changed a little bit. So the conditions have changed and it's more difficult to understand where the next gain comes from. So they just decided to stay in control and they covered every jibe of Provezza. Provezza did a couple of jibes, but Platoon was always covering them, so great job Platoon.
And this will extend their lead at the top of the table, considering there's just a single point between them and Gladiator going into the first race of the day. Platoon Aviation looking very much like a team which could win this regatta. So looking very much like, it's amazing, isn't it, Louise? They're now 200 metres ahead of Provezza, considering they were so close at the top mark. And correspondingly, Provezza are a good 150 metres ahead of Interlodge.
Andy, sorry to interrupt you here 1 second. We just said how amazing the lead is, but I don't know what happened. I don't know, maybe it was a massive right shift because Platoon just dropped their Janaka, so they're now sailing only with jib and mainsail. I don't have any wind data here, but if I look on the tracking, maybe the wind shifted so much, or I don't really know what happened that they had to drop the Janaka, but this can be the moment for Provezza, Andy. I think there's a lot of excitement at the moment on the boat of Platoon and on Provezza because this can maybe be the moment.
Breeze has gone ahead, has it?
Yeah, there's still more wind, and Platoon is the only boat that had dropped their Janaka, but I wish to have a compass now to at least understand the wind direction a little bit better, because I can just see how the boats are positioned to themselves. And yes, I think the wind had changed a lot to the right, because also Provezza now just has to bear away massively and their Janaka is flapping, so that means that they're too high to the wind. And what is happening all of a sudden here with the wind out, Andy? This is unbelievable.
I think what's happening is I'm guessing that the easterly is coming over the island now, and suddenly you're getting a northeasterly offshore component, which is blowing in. And this was pretty much what Francesco Mongelli was talking about, saying there would be some big surprises in the later part of the afternoon. The northeasterly coming in. So maybe the Mistral's now blowing out in the Gulf of Lion or something, but for sure, as long as this race stays equal and equable and there's no significant gains or losses because of this, and I'm sure Maria will let this one run, considering Platoon are so close to the finish line. But
wow, but this is incredible. So we see now Platoon sailing into the finish, and also Provezzo not having the Jenner Cup anymore, only sailing with jib and mainsail. And you remember when you asked me earlier about Sled, how they look? Oh, they look very bad now, unfortunately, Andy.
Oh,
but now we're at the finish, and Platoon is just about to cross it, Andy.
Indeed then, so the 52 Super Series 2023 champions coming through the finish line now for their second win off the regatta, extending their lead at the top of the table, riding out that wind shift coming down the final. I want to call it a run, but something other than a run. It's not quite downwind, but anyway, Provezzo on top of that change as well. It's one of these situations where you can see the line of pressure changing. A big advantage will be to the boats to the left coming into the finish line. But I think Provezzo will be pretty happy, I guess, with that second place, considering they're in 13th place after day one. Interlodge looking like they'll come away with third. They were fifth at the top mark first time up. They were fourth through the leeward gate, third top mark second time up. And the American team from the Newyork Yacht Club will come through in third, I think. All the teams scrambling to get a head sail up and their kites down. So big upset with the breeze.
Andy's.
Go on, Louise.
Andy, yeah, so now I can clearly see it. You couldn't really see it because it came so late, but there was a lot of pressure now coming in from the right side. I think it's at least a 90-degree shift to the right side, and it's just another wind who came in here now. I couldn't see it before. I just understood that there was a change of style of day, but I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. And I think a lot of these boats were neither. So, wow, what an exciting last downwind again, Andy.
Indeed, so Interlodge, I think, through in third, and Gladiator get on top of that one. Pull back some much needed points, considering they were down in eighth at the top mark first time up. A little bit of a getting out of jail, not exactly free, but for sure a good recovery for them. Provezzo second, then Interlodge third. Paprec fourth, Gladiators coming in fifth. Phoenix sixth, Criolla. Disappointing for them considering they were second at the top mark. As you say, Louise, it's all about learning for them. Allegra eighth. So I think that Platoon Aviation lead is not going to be quite as flattering as it looked at one stage, but really this is going to be a tough race mentally for the in particular for the Quantum team, who are sitting there away up to windward as this breeze is just dying away. So it's Allegra through the line. Next through will be Teasing Machine. Then Vayu. And this is tough then. These boats have got hardly any wind. Sled through in 10th. Sorry, 11th. But yeah, it's going to be a long wait for Alpha Plus and Quantum to come through. These are mentally punishing moments. We've seen it before here on this very race course. Same kind of situation. I can remember it happening for, in fact, for Quantum many years ago, and also I think for Platoon at one point. But it's not unheard of when you have this battle between the sea breeze and northeasterly blowing out on the north side of the island. Suddenly late afternoon, after the temperatures have evened out, then you have this new breeze coming in late in the day. So in the meantime, Alpha Plus have got more to do. Quantum, I think, will come through for 12th. So Platoon Aviation went into this race with a 6-point lead over Quantum. So they'll go to 8th, 8 points, and Quantum from 13 will go to 25 points. Gladiator are on 14, and they'll go to 19 points. So the overall lead in this regatta for Platoon Aviation looking very healthy indeed as we go into the third day of racing, the midpoint of the regatta tomorrow. And it is very much the platoon of old that we're seeing, a team which won the circuit title last year and won the World Championship, albeit on the last race, on the last run in Barcelona. So Ludwig on board with Gigi Parada. I think he's telling me he never looks at the circuit standings, but he's certainly looking at the race result there, just checking to see how things played out. Let Gladiator reflect on one good result, one not so good. Did a 10th in race 3. But Louise, no mistaking who the top dogs are again today, with a 5-point average, or 5 points from 2 races, 2.5 point average. That's a regatta winning average, isn't it?
Absolutely, Andy. I think that was a fantastic day for Platoon Aviation. Very difficult conditions, to be honest. A lot of things happened, especially always on the final downwind. Incredible. And Platoon didn't really have great starts, but they always managed to get themselves back into the leading group and then doing some nice maneuvers, some nice positioning to all finish 4th in the first race, or basically winning then the last race. Well done by these guys. They had patience, they were planning ahead, and they positioned themselves nicely. Well done to Platoon Aviation. And I think this last race just shows how difficult sailing can be sometimes.
Expect the unexpected, isn't it?
Big right shift here. Exactly. Exactly. So, but yeah, please.
Yeah, but the other thing that we have to note is the Patrick team coming over with a 2nd in the first race and a 4th, I think, in that second race. 6-point average for the French team for Jean-Luc Petit-Huguenin's team, dealing with their own mental problems, as it were, their own loss of a crew member. They're out to do their best, and they're lying third overall. So there's the regatta standings, the Puerto Portals 52 Super Series Sailing Week standings after 4 races. 1, 2, 4, 1, 8 points then for Harm Muller Sprayers 52 Super Series champions Platoon Aviation on 8 points. Then 11 points behind our Gladiator on 19. Paprec on 20 points. Interlodge on 23. Phoenix on 25. Quantum Racing Powered by American Magic dropping to 6th on 25. Sled on 33, Allegra on 33, Provezza 34, Criolla on 34, Value on 34, Alpha on 36, and Teasing Machine on 40. That leaderboard is incredibly tight, with the exception of Platoon Aviation at the top of the table. So what a great day's racing. Good breezes once again on the Bay of Palma. Join us again tomorrow for races 5 and 6. We'll see you then.
Some infidelities, the real estate inside my head you took is never coming back, but you said that it wasn't personal. And every time you lied to me, it's like I didn't want to see, cause I thought you were beautiful, and beauty doesn't want to be mischievous and devious and set a fire unto us, but you were never beautiful at all. I wasn't fine to begin with, walked out those lines to begin with, but you forced me to work on myself because you put me through hell. I guess I should thank you for that. I'm on